This episode of the Believe in Oregon podcast is brought to you by Bet Online. Basketball fans, it is that time of year again. The NBA is officially back. From opening tip-off to buzzer beaters, Bet Online has you covered with the best odds, the biggest promotions, and live in-game betting on all of your favorite teams. This season, every game matters. Bet Online has every stat, every matchup breakdown, and live odds to bet on during the game. And it's not just the NBA. Bet Online has odds on everything from football, MLB playoffs, NHL, and political props if you're into that sort of thing. Head to the website today to get in on the action with America's most trusted site for online wagering. Bet Online, the game starts here. What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the newest episode of the Believe in Oregon podcast. I'm Zachary, Neel, my co-host over there, Jonathan Stewart. Jay Stu, what's up, man? How we doing?
I'm doing fantastic, brother. How you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm dealing with a little bit of a head cold, which is super
You're
annoying.
still getting over that sickness.
It's like a new sickness. I was
You know
sick
what
2
it
weeks
is?
ago, and then I was good. It's having kids. I can
Yeah, I was about to
guarantee
say
you it's having
it's them
kids.
kids carrying them all them germs.
Someone in our house is always sick, and I don't think it's going to change for the next few years, unfortunately.
Yeah, you're just building your immune system. That's all.
Apparently. This is an interesting week. It was one that was circled on the calendar back before the year started, but it feels like some of the air has kind of been let out of the balloon, so to speak. The Ducks go to the big house to face the Michigan Wolverines, the defending champion Michigan Wolverines. Oregon is number one. Michigan is unranked, and to be honest, not that good. If we're
Yeah,
just, calling it as it
call it
is.
what it is. Yep.
Yeah, but we have not talked since after the Illinois game this past weekend. Oregon's, what was it, 38-9, just beat down of number 20 Illinois. How are you feeling kind of coming out of that game?
I'm feeling really good, especially because we were able to do exactly what we've been wanting them to do, which is start fast
Yeah.
and not let our opponent dictate what we're going to do.
Mhm.
We did it through the air, we did it on the ground. I mean, we did it on when I say we did it on the ground, we did it on the ground. We'll get to that later, but
Yeah.
Dylan Gabriel played a fantastic game. Yeah, he threw a pick, but hey, who cares? 4 touchdowns. He did basically everything else right. And what I really love about this is that we played this game and there's still room for improvement.
Mhm.
And we have not peaked. We're not even close to peaking yet.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm just continuing to just like be excited about. Yeah, we win these games that we're supposed to win, but when we're winning them in the way that we have been, it's pretty impressive. Starting fast is always something that great teams have the ability to do.
Mhm.
Now, I would love to see that third quarter, whoever's out there, keep the foot on the pedal.
Yeah, that's
So,
the one area for major improvement from this team. I think in the past 5 games, they've scored a combined 3 points in the third quarter. Like, they were
yeah,
scoreless last week. They've only gotten 1 field goal. I think it was against Michigan State in the third quarter.
yeah.
But you've been on this all year long that this is, it shouldn't be a complete team yet. And that's something I think that we should highlight that, you've talked about how they just need to continue growing, not peaking yet, and just continue kind of improving each week. And we've seen that. I think we were kind of dead on in our analysis of this last game against Illinois. We had the
Yeah,
exact
we
same
agreed.
score prediction, 42-13. It was pretty close.
Yeah.
We said that, hey, I don't think this is going to be a very close game. And it wasn't. I think it played out kind of exactly as we thought it would.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Um, you know, th- One of the things that I love seeing is Kenyon Sadiq.
Mhm.
I had no clue. I was not familiar with your game, sir.
Yes,
Uh,
absolutely.
he is such a bright spot,
Mhm.
with Ferguson being out, obviously top caliber tight end in the nation. And with him being out, one can question that position. Not for the University of Oregon. The Ducks got a guy, and he's not just a guy. He is potentially a future first round draft pick, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Um, he can block, he can run routes. Obviously, I feel like there's probably some room for improvement in the
Yeah.
blocking realm, but that's understandable, right? A young guy,
It's true
but just
sophomore.
true sophomore. And so just a guy that just adds this whole other element to what the Oregon Ducks can do. I'm talking about different personnels, 21 personnel when
Yeah.
Ferguson gets back. Oh,
Mhm.
It's a nightmare for those Packers and for
Yeah.
a defensive coordinator. Um, so just seeing these new elements that take place, it's really really cool. And so
Well, and Sadiq is someone, I mean, it's really nice to see someone kinda live up to the expectations and the hype. I mean, before the season, we were talking to offensive coordinator Will Stein, and he was like, I basically, I'm not putting I'm paraphrasing a little bit. He said, "He's not Brock Bowers, but this guy's kinda like Brock Bowers." And we're like,
yeah,
"Whoa, okay."
that's pretty
I mean,
big
we've
statement.
seen him come out, and it's like, "Alright, this guy's really I mean, he catches the ball like a wide receiver. He
He's
runs
a
like a running
slasher,
back.
like a
He
slasher.
blocks like a tight end." I mean, this guy is he's really freaking good. I've said over the past couple weeks, I in no way want to not enjoy our time with Terrence Ferguson because he's a really good player and he's a lot of fun to watch, but man, I'm looking forward to the Kenyon Sadiq tight end 1 era.
Yeah, same. And I think that's the reason why I can say we haven't peaked because we haven't really seen them, pair those two together on a football field the
Yeah,
way we've seen him operate. It'd be nice to see Terrence Ferguson out there as far as a target as well at the same time. You're going to be spreading that defense thin, whoever it is, especially with our run game,
yeah,
right? You got
yeah,
a tight end that can, take a guy from the seam deep, pulling a backer out on a flat route, whatever it is. That's one less guy in the box. And
yeah.
so when you have one less guy in the box, that means the safety's got to come up and make some plays, which we know now. I feel like we've issued a service announcement with our running backs the way they've been running, um, that they're not to be played with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of Ferguson, we'll get to his injury update in a little bit. We've got a great show for you guys today. We're gonna get into our take and bakes, get some more J Stew's thoughts on the Illinois game. Then we're gonna dive into our Michigan preview. Like usual, I'll start with some quick injury news before we dive into everything. We talked to Dan Lanning last night. He gave some positive updates on the injury front. Both Terrence Ferguson and Jordan Birch are back at practice, albeit in limited, fashion, but they are considered questionable for this game. So we could see them back as soon as this week. I kind of think it may be next week instead, but it'll be they may have them in more of like a critical situation. If they need them, they'll play them. But I don't know if we see them start on Saturday against Michigan.
Yeah, I wouldn't rush any of those guys back.
Yeah,
Like you said, I feel like this Michigan game coming up, the air's out of the
yeah,
kite or out of the sail or
yeah.
however you want to put it.
The wind's
It's
out of the
not
sail. Yeah, we'll
the
say that
wind's
one.
out of the sail. There you go.
Air out of the balloon.
Yeah, that one too. The smoke's out of the kitchen.
There you go. That's it. We can keep coming up with them all day long. No hard out today. We got time to come up with these
Yeah, we can keep
metaphors.
going.
All right, let's get into some take and bakes. Let's get some takes out of the oven. I've got a short one that honestly it's kind of still baking right now. I said on the post game show that I was, diving into the numbers concerning this Oregon defense, and I'm still doing some digging, but I found some interesting stuff so far. Basically, I think we're getting to the point where we can say that this is among the best defenses that Oregon has ever had. I'm not ready to say that it's the best just yet, but it's in that conversation. Let me throw some numbers at you. Through 8 games, they're giving up 15.6 points per game, which is on pace for the second best in school history, behind the 1992 Oregon Ducks. Giving up 297.3 yards per game, again on pace for the second best in school history between 1992. They're on pace for 42 sacks, which would be the second best in program history. They had 45 in 2011. I also couldn't find sack data from before 2004. I don't know if they just didn't keep track of it then or what, but I couldn't find it anywhere online. I've talked with several, other people about the best defenses in Oregon history, and usually they bring up, 2019 was a really good defense. 2007, the D boys. We've talked about them a lot. Obviously, 1994, the Gang Green. This team is currently on pace to be better than all of those teams in terms of points per game, yards per game, sacks, and they're right up there with tackles for loss. So there's still several games to go. Obviously, a lot can happen. We'll see how things play out, but I think it's time that we legitimately can start talking about this defense as one of the best in program history.
Yeah, no question in mind. Yeah, middle of the season practically.
Mhm. We're
with the
past that now,
playoffs.
yeah.
We're past that, but
Yes,
with the
yes, with the
playoffs and
playoffs,
everything,
correct.
they're 8-0, 5-0, and I honestly think if they continue to go the way they are going and keep holding teams to, you know, the lack of points and the lack of movement with the chains and all that, and continuing to get after the quarterback. I mean, good lord. I
Without their
mean,
best
Jordan
player,
without
without
Jordan
Jordan
Birch.
Burch.
That's another reason why we haven't peaked.
It's incredible.
So because he's gonna have to get him back and he's gonna have to get, his feet underneath
Yeah,
him again and all that. So the trenches is
mhm,
the difference maker here.
yeah,
Oregon hasn't seen the trenches the way they have seen it this year.
mhm,
And I can say like last year, I feel like there were some dogs that went off and the thing is we've had some really good defensive line, you know what I'm saying? But they're bigger, they're stronger, they terrorize quarterbacks, they disrupt things in the backfield continuously. I mean, watching the Illinois game, I was just like, man, these guys Illinois' team hasn't seen a defensive line like this one this
which
whole
is
entire
just
season.
crazy, yeah,
And so, and we are the newcomers in the Big Ten,
mhm,
right? All the noise that people kept on talking about throughout this offseason and even throughout the beginning of the season, saying, oh, Oregon doesn't have the physicality that's needed. They don't have the size. They don't have the players to be physical when it comes to the Big Ten. And that was one of our questions going into this season, right? And I think week in and week out, we have been able to see this come to fruition.
mhm,
The first game of the year, we're like, kind of hit or miss. All right. Boise State game. We got ran all over. But that's probably a potential,
yeah,
that will be a
a Heisman
collegiate
finalist, yeah,
a Heisman finalist, but also a future college football Hall of Famer. You know
yeah,
what I'm saying? So these are things that we questioned ourselves early on, but now, you know, you know, the sky, bird's eye view, you know what I'm saying? Like we're able to see this from a whole different vantage point.
yeah,
We played Ohio State and ran with those boys and dominated. We went to Purdue on a road game and our defensive line was all up in their backyard. We played the Illinois last week, and their quarterback was feeling like a high school quarterback, probably. Uh, so these are things that I'm really excited about, and I think you're spot on as
yeah.
far as this potentially being the best defense in Oregon football history. No doubt about it.
Yeah, I still have some more research to do. I've got like, their end of year stats and everything, but we're not there yet. So we have through 8 games. So I need to go through and find out where were those teams? Where was the 1994 team? Where was the 2017 through 8 games? What were their
Yeah,
numbers then? And kind of figure it out then. But I'll have a piece out on Duckswire later this week that kind of flushes all that out. So look out for that.
yeah.
Do you have anything that is done baking? Anything for take and bake this week?
Um, Noah Whittington
Let's have
has
this
an
conversation. This is fun.
Noah Noah Whittington has knocked all the rust and all the dust off his shoulder pads, off of his cleats, off of his helmet. He is ready to go.
It looks like he's back,
He is
doesn't
a
it?
fine-tuned oiled machine right now.
Yeah.
And I love it because there's no question as far as coming off of this game as a player, you come off that game and you're watching these highlights of you destroying number 10 for Illinois and basically telling him that he needs to sit down in a chair. You fainting goat. Basically, you hit him, he turned into a fainting goat. Um, and the confidence that just gives a player.
Mhm.
I'm so excited for him, and I hope he just continues to just grind and continue to just deliver the way he's been delivering, running physical, running angry. Uh, matching that with Jordan James, that's a scary, rest of the season for some teams.
Yeah.
And if you're a defensive back, and if you're a guy that is watching film this week for Michigan, you are nervous. You are nervous. And then think about weeks later when Terrence Ferguson comes back, right? you're gonna be even more nervous if you're a safety because now you got to play these tight ends and have to figure out if they're going out for a pass or not. And if they are or whatever, now you're taken out of the now someone's being taken out of the equation, and it's going to be one less person in there to help you support in the run game. And so these things I don't think people really realize how dangerous Oregon is and how they are going to be. Um, Exciting stuff. But Noah Whittington, that hit, it was like he just snatched the soul out of that
Yeah,
young man. Number
that's
10, you got to
impressive.
change your number, bro. You got to change your number because from here on out, we gonna be like, oh, that's number 10. That's the guy that got mollywopped by Noah Whittington.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm really curious to see how I mean, we were kinda tracking this early on in the year, the snap counts and the rushing attempts between Jordan James and Noah Whittington. Would it be an RB1, RB2, or kind of a more of a timeshare? It still is. I mean, they Jordan James had 15 carries, against Illinois, Noah Whittington had 7. And that's kinda been that split for most of the season. Jordan James has been the clear number 1. I'm
Hmm.
curious if they were doing that intentionally because they were waiting for Whittington to get fully healthy and kind of get that confidence back, and if it'll change now or if we'll still kind of see the same thing. But
I honestly think that Noah Whittington probably went off into that offseason, this past offseason, and added something to his game, which
mhm,
is physicality.
yeah,
I think, they probably viewed him a little bit like a slasher, like a guy that comes in and is change of pace. He's a change of pace and he's also a bruiser now.
mhm.
So
He's a big guy,
he's
man.
a
Watching,
big
like, seeing
yeah.
him in practice, like he looks like a smaller guy on the field, like standing
Yeah.
next to Bucky Irving is kind of like, yeah, these are two smaller, undersized backs. He's thick,
No.
man.
Yeah,
He's a big guy.
they are put together differently these days. I
Yeah.
mean, me coming out, of high school, going into college, I was a little bit of like a freak in a lot of ways as far as development.
Yeah.
A senior out of high school,
Yeah, you were
coming in at
huge.
228 pounds and actually looking like it.
Mhm.
These kids now, they all look like it.
Yeah.
They're taking care of their bodies younger. They're um lifting younger. They're doing all these things for explosion, working on their explosion. And these kids are all, looking like pro style running backs.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the differences are the guys that got it right here. You
Mhm.
gotta have that dog within that rib. You know what I'm saying? And that's one thing that we do have in our running backs. They look to destroy guys at the end of the
Mhm.
run. I love a running back that knows how to finish a run. A guy that's not going to just step out of bounds. He's going to make sure when he's going out of bounds, you're going to feel him.
Mhm.
And then obviously middle of the field, like we saw Noah do, number 10. That's never going to leave my mind. I I reposted it on my Instagram because it was so good.
Yeah.
Almost like it was my own highlight because it was so good. I wish I was able to do that in Oregon. I mean,
Yeah.
literally, that might have been the best truck stick Autzen Stadium's ever seen.
Well, wait, I don't know if this was in Autzen, but the Jeremiah Masoli one.
I don't know if that
Dang,
was in Autzen.
I don't think that was in Autzen, but that was against Oregon State on a 4th down, I believe. That was huge
Yeah,
too. But yes, this was
this
by
was
far
huge.
the biggest truck stick I've seen in person.
Yeah, this is the biggest one because he didn't fall and he scored
Yeah.
seamlessly.
Yeah.
And the guy
He didn't even
was
slow
by
down.
himself. Like number 22, when you watch this again, number 22, the DB that's coming over there to like act like he's helping, it was almost like he walked up onto a crime scene. He was
It's
like,
like, "Hey,
"Oh my god, I
you
wasn't
you
expecting
okay,
this."
man? Can I help you up? Just help you change your
Uh,
identity real quick." I have a question for you, Jay Stu.
yeah.
What is your favorite quality in a hat?
My favorite quality in a hat, you know, that they're durable, you know?
Durable.
Yeah, especially if you have a snapback hat.
Uh-huh.
Sometimes those little snappy pieces can get all worn and torn.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Not this melon hat. Melon,
Melon, don't do that.
they don't do that. They don't mess around with their hat quality. So shout out to Melon. Get a melon for your melon.
Get a melon for your melon. Melon is built to last 5 times longer than any hat. Natural antimicrobial properties, so sweat does not break through and break down the hat. No sweat stains and no smell. They are built for water. They don't lose the shape if you take them in water or wash them. You know, these hats get a little dirty. We use them to golf a lot in the hot sun, work out, stuff like that. So you can wash them. They're going to bounce right back to life in that same fit. In the summer months, I was enjoying my hydro collection, the waterproof hat that's good. It floats when you're boating, stuff like that. You can jump into the water with it. But we're now getting into late October. It's starting to get a little bit cold out. I'm looking forward to going into the thermal collection with the winter months coming soon. If you're looking for the world's most durable hat, look no further. Go to melon.com. That's melin.com and put it to the test yourself. All right, real quick before we dive into our Michigan preview, I want to talk to you about the Big Ten championship scenarios. So we've
Mhm.
got 5 weeks left in the regular season. Right now, Oregon, Penn State, and Indiana are undefeated in the Big Ten. Ohio State, of course, has one loss. If you look at the ESPN Football Power Index, which kind of gives like a percent chance for each team to make it to the conference championship, to the playoffs, to the national championship, etc., the Ducks and the Buckeyes are favored for a rematch right now. There is a scenario where Oregon, Ohio State, Penn State, and Indiana all have one loss at the end of the conference season. All those teams play. Well, everyone except Oregon. All those three teams play each other over the next few weeks. Who do you think we see in Indianapolis, and who, more importantly, who do you want to see in Indianapolis, assuming that Oregon makes it, which I think is a pretty safe bet at this point.
I want Ohio State to not lose any more games, and I want to see them
Okay,
because I think it
explain.
will just. And the reason why is because if there's any question or any doubt as far as how good Oregon is, we'll be able to make that decision real quick as far as the Big Ten goes, right?
Mhm.
Um, I always love, two heavyweight contenders going against each other, and basically that's the stage that's been set. No question about who's better and who they played and all that. Because some people might say, "Oh, well, Oregon didn't have to play Penn State," or "Oh, Oregon didn't have to play Indiana." Well, you know what? We played Ohio State twice,
Yeah,
and we beat them both times.
yeah,
So
that'd be fun.
that's what I
And
would like to
I
happen.
also think Ohio State, I mean, they're not the same team right now that they were when they played Oregon because they lost their
Yeah.
starting left tackle for the year. And if you
Mm.
watched them last week against who was it,
They can feel
Nebraska,
it, huh?
they struggled. They ran the ball for I think 2.6 yards per carry.
Oh,
It was
Jesus.
they had I forget I don't have it off the top of my head. It was something like 68 rushing yards. And this
Yeah.
is a team with 2 of the best running backs in the nation. So they're feeling it. So yes, I
Th
would like
that's
to play them again.
that's one of the tough things about losing a guy and not having the
Mhm.
depth to replace him because now you become one-dimensional in the running game. Because if he was a left tackle,
Yeah, left tackle.
so now you have a left tackle that's out. Now you're basically saying, "Okay, well, we're gonna run any stretch play to the right side." And then you talk about a quarterback's blind side, right? It's a whole
Yeah,
another game,
that's important.
it's a decision right there as far as, what plays you're gonna call and the design and how you want your quarterback to get the ball out and the timing and all that. All those types of things go into play. So, man, well, maybe Ohio State might not make it.
That's the thing. I mean, they play Penn State this weekend. That's gonna be a huge game. I think it's Penn State's number 3, Ohio State's number 4. College
That's
game
gonna
day
be
will
a
be
big game to
there in
watch.
Happy Valley. It'll be important to watch, but to be completely honest, like none of those 3 teams really give me too much concern if I'm
Yeah.
Oregon. I mean, Penn State, all of them have, quote unquote problems. Ohio
Mhm.
State, you already know you could beat them because you've beaten them before. They're also they're worse off than when they were when you beat them. Penn
Yeah.
State has quarterback problems when healthy. Their quarterback currently isn't healthy. And Indiana is just, we don't really know exactly what they are. They're explosive on offense, but it's still Indiana.
They were kinda like Illinois for a little bit,
Yeah,
like
they were.
Illinois, they were a lot of hype as far as, them and, last week we called their bluff and said, "Nah, they haven't played anyone yet."
Yeah.
Right? And I feel like Indiana will be able to see a little bit more of them.
I mean, speaking of haven't played anyone yet, Indiana has beat FIU, Western Illinois, UCLA, Charlotte, Maryland, Northwestern,
Nobody.
Nebraska, and Washington. Not a single ranked game on that
Mm.
schedule. Like,
Nobody,
they have not played
baby.
anybody. So, yeah, we'll see how that goes. They play Ohio State in 2 weeks or 3 weeks, I think. So, we'll see what
Yeah.
happens there. All right, let's get into our Michigan preview. But first, Jay Stu, I want to talk to you about Cherry Bundy. When they started advertising with us, I had never heard of tart cherry juice before, but you
Mhm.
said that you were all about it and you used it during your playing career?
Oh yeah, man. It really focuses. It helps you, recover, right?
Mhm.
And not just in the sense of, oh, post workout, let me take this so that way my muscles feel better and rejuvenated. The cherry bundy, it helps you recover in your sleep. It has elements in there that relax your body, like give you a relaxation state, and just so the best way for your body to recover is to be relaxed, and the best way to do that is when you sleep. And what I like to do is, drink them at night. It's kind of like a snack in my mind because it's tasty and it's tart, and those are the types of things that I love. Um, and if you ever had a cherry pie
Mhm.
and you bite one of the cherries, and it's like, that was really good. I like that. Satisfying. Now, if you're not a
Yeah,
tart person, then you might not like this, but I love tart sweet things. And but knowing that it tastes good and it's giving me the recovery that I need, you're always looking for the edge, right?
yeah, absolutely.
What's that one thing that can get me over the hump? What's that next thing that can get me to game day? With me, my playing career, I was injured all the time, and so I was always looking for the edge.
Mhm.
So
I hear you.
Cherry Bundy was one of those things.
If you guys don't know about Cherry Bundy, it's a natural anti-inflammatory supplement with no added sugar, made primarily from tart cherries, which are the highest antioxidant fruit or vegetable in the world. They've got drinks, concentrates, and gummies, all aimed at reducing soreness and increasing recovery in athletes. They also contain naturally occurring melatonin that helps improve sleep and support immunity. Cherry Bunny is what's in the locker room at Oregon. This is why that's what the team uses for recovery, which is why we're so excited to partner with them to get that message out there. Cherry Bunny is also used in nearly 500 collegiate and professional sports teams, including every NFL team and 10 out of the last 11 Super Bowl champions. Like I said earlier, life with two kids. I have been sick a lot recently, dealing with a head cold right now, but I've been drinking Cherry Bunny and trying to get that extra recovery
There you
while I
go.
sleep, like Jay Stu was talking about. So you can find all Cherry Bunny products at Amazon or go at cherrybuddy.com. Again, that's CHERIBUNDI.com. Go get yours today. It's backed by science and certified by champions. Okay, let's turn our heads towards Michigan and get into the gambling corner. Again, all of our odds are brought to you by our sponsor, Bet Online. The Ducks are 14.5 point favorites in this game, minus 705 on the money line with an over under of 45.5. What is your initial read on this, Jay Stu?
Michigan ain't got it.
Okay. Man, I thought you were going a different way when you started with Michigan. I was a little scared.
Michigan, they aren't who we thought they were, and they
They are not
aren't
who they
going,
were last year.
and they're not going to show up in any other form, shape, or size.
Okay.
They are the Wolverines on paper, but I don't know what you want to call them in person. Maybe like a chipmunk or something, or a squirrel. Um, I think as long as Oregon goes in there and handles business and use a little bit of history, this was a game that really I think put Oregon on the map when I was playing.
This is one of your like career games. Like this is
Yeah,
one of the J Stu legacy games.
and I think this is going to be an embarrassment for Michigan, just like it was when Dennis Dixon pulled off the Statue of Liberty.
Yeah.
Um, and hopefully it'll be nice to have Dan Lanning and the boys do a Statue of Liberty play.
I
That
was
would
thinking that
be
that would be awesome.
that would be just like the total savagery. But yeah, I think we're definitely getting 15 over,
Do you remember
14 over.
your stats from this game when you guys played in the
Uh,
big house?
I don't remember. I do remember jumping over a guy. I remember the Statue of Liberty play that we ran the first time where he actually handed it off to me, and I like went to the left and swung a guy, and I tripped over my own feet, and I should have scored, and that was very frustrating. And then I remember Dennis Dixon and the Statue of Liberty play. I was totally not sure if he was going to keep it or not.
Mhm.
And the more I think about it, I think Chip Kelly told Dennis not to ever tell us and just to take the read as
Yeah,
if, I mean, we'd
smart.
have to, I'd have to talk to him about it and just kind of get that memory back. But I remember Jeremiah was in there with me,
Mhm.
and Jeremiah went down. He hit a down block and just cut a guy. And I took the handoff, at least as I thought I did. Right. And I didn't have the ball all of a sudden. And I just carried out my fake.
There you
And
go.
I heard the crowd go,
Oh.
"Oh."
Yeah,
Like, it was just like sucked the air out of the
yeah.
balloon. And so just that feeling, man, going into a hostile environment, something that you like dream about, right? I'm
Mhm,
like, you remember playing, college NCAA football, right?
mhm.
And you're going to all these like, monumental places as far as like the stature of the stadiums and the noise, and you're playing these games and you're like, oh man, maybe one day I'll be able to play in that stadium. And Michigan, the big house was one of those stadiums.
Yeah,
I remember watching Ron Dane tear Michigan up, um, and being able to go there and be part of history in the sense of just football in general. That's a special deal, and
yeah,
that's what Oregon has a chance to do this weekend, is go into the big house in the first year of the Big Ten and just crush them, and hopefully they do that.
yeah, I think I agree with you. I like the Ducks to cover in this one, the 14.5. I'm also gonna take the under, though, even though 45.5 is a pretty low number. I think these are 2 really good defenses. I mean, we know how good we've already talked about how good Oregon's defense is. Michigan's defense is really good too. I saw today that, in a 2025 NFL mock draft, they have 5 projected first round picks, 4 of which are on the defensive side of the ball. Quarterback Will Johnson may not play, so the Ducks might be able to pass a little bit on the Wolverines, but I don't think that this is gonna be, a run heavy game where the Ducks are able to just run all over them. And I don't really
Mhm.
see the Ducks putting up 40 plus points. I think they win. I think it's more of a grinded out low score game though in the end.
I think completely different. I
Okay.
think we're gonna run all over Michigan.
Okay.
I think they're not gonna be able to stop a cold. I think their defensive backs are in that meeting room thinking to themselves, "Man, we really aren't that physical already, and we have to come up and tackle these guys."
But they do have 2
So,
first round defensive tackles and a first round edge rusher as well.
I don't care. I don't
Okay.
think they're gonna be able to hold. I don't think they can't hold a towel when it comes to what Oregon is
Okay.
about to do to them. So
Okay.
that's just my thought. And then also too, I mean, Michigan State, I feel like was running all over them
Yeah.
a little bit more than usual. Um, and I think our passing game is going to open that up even more, right? Um, we're going to be able to air it out and spread that defense a little bit thin than they have been able to see throughout their year.
Trying to see how many rushing yards Michigan State had on them. Yeah, Michigan State ran for 163, only 3.9 yards per rush. So they did all
They
right
committed,
against them, but it
yeah.
was
So they
24-17.
okay,
It was a close game. I mean, Michigan
hmm
State's not that great. So yeah, I mean, I
yeah,
I think our major point is that Oregon is the better team in this one, and if they show up and handle their business, and we have no reason to believe that they won't, they should be able to get out of there with a win.
yeah. And I don't think we should underestimate, nor should they, the Illinois game. That was they physically beat them, beat the brakes off of them in the first half. And so that's a confidence booster for any team. And that's what's being preached in that locker room. That's what's being preached in those meeting rooms with those coaches, position coaches are basically, saying, "Hey, this is who we are. Okay? Don't forget this. Noah Whittington, that's our DNA."
Yeah. Well, and
So
if you're looking at common opponents, do you know what the score was when Michigan played Illinois?
what?
Illinois 21, Michigan 7.
Yeah.
I think Oregon's gonna win this one.
Yeah. We're gonna beat the brakes off them. Beat the dog brakes off of Michigan.
All right, let's get into our duck calls where we break down a couple things we want to see out of this team in week 10 and make some predictions for Saturday. What is your biggest duck call of the week? What do you want to see from this team?
I want to see a third quarter.
Yes.
I
Good
want to
call.
see a I want to see a third quarter just like the first quarter.
Mhm.
Just come out guns blazing, smoking. Unless it's 40 something to 0 in the first half,
Yeah.
I still want to see that third quarter because I think they need to see that third quarter.
I think so
They need
too.
to be able to fulfill the duty, the adjustments during halftime need to be had and need to be made to basically show themselves that if they are in a bind in third quarter, they can fix it.
Yeah. Similarly, I want to see Oregon. I want to see the first quarter. I want to see the Ducks take the lead early because I think that's crucial for their success. Michigan is not a team that can play from behind. I mean, they do not have the offense to chase points. They do
Yeah,
have the offense to sit on a lead if you give it to them, which they have not gotten very much this season. But they're a team that can wind out the clock and run the ball pretty well. So I want to see Oregon get a two-score lead in the first quarter, take the ball to start the game. I mean, if you get the option to kick or receive, I want to see them take the ball, go down and score, and just press that lead throughout the game. Do you have any bold predictions for this?
um, we will score on the first 3 straight drives,
Okay, it's not very
touchdowns.
that's not very bold, but I'll give it to you.
Yeah,
Actually,
you
against
want you
this
want.
defense, that may be bold.
Yeah, I
Mine's a little
mean,
bit bolder. I'm saying Oregon does not give up a sack in this game.
I like that.
Just a good
Keep
defensive
keep our
line.
boy upright.
Yeah, keep him upright.
Um, I also say too, Dylan Gabriel will have no interceptions.
Okay, good start.
I'm gonna give you a couple bold
I'll hear it.
predictions
Yeah.
since you just challenged me on my bold prediction. Dylan
Get
Gabriel will
bold.
have no interceptions.
Okay.
Kenyon Sadiq will have a touchdown.
Oh, okay. Haven't seen that. Has he
It'll
had
be
one
at
yet this
it'll
year?
be
I
a
don't think he has.
25 plus yard touchdown.
Okay.
It'll be an explosive play. Um, I think our defense as a whole will have 5 sacks.
5 sacks. Okay. 5 sacks. Yeah, I think you could do that definitely against Michigan's.
Yeah.
Um, he does not have a touchdown this year.
hmm Yeah, it's
All
really
right,
bold.
let's just looking that one up. Do you have a final score prediction for this game?
40, 42, 40, 41,
Okay.
41, 41 to 9.
Wow. Okay. You're going almost exactly what you did last week too.
Yeah.
All right, I think it'll be a little bit closer than you do, but I still don't think it'll be close. I've got Oregon 28, Michigan 10.
Mm, yeah.
We'll see who's right this time.
The difference there is the third quarter.
Yeah, it is. That really
Third
is.
quarter is gonna come out and smack somebody in the face. So
Yeah. I just I don't think Michigan's that good, but I just do respect their defense and the players there. If Will Johnson doesn't play, their cornerback, I mean, he's projected to be like the fourth overall pick in the draft. So I think he can
uh,
do some damage in the secondary. I know they've got game records up front, but we'll see, man. There's no reason not to believe in this Oregon team right now.
I'm gonna say that he's not gonna play. They're 5-3. There's nothing for him to play for.
That's that's very true. All right, let's wrap it up right there. We will be back, you guys, this weekend to recap the game. Jay Stu, you got anything to add?
Nah, man. Tune in this weekend. A lot of nostalgia. A
Yeah.
good time to be alive.
Your thoughts on the uniforms? I know you kind of helped in the unveiling a little bit.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that was fun doing that with Dennis.
Hmm.
Um, you know, Dennis deserves a lot of praise for, being a guy, similar to Joey Harrington.
Yeah.
Um, but I think even more a little bit maybe more impactful because of the spread offense and the timing with Chip Kelly.
Hmm.
I think he has led the way, not just for Oregon, but for football in general.
Hmm.
It was during the time where him and Pat White we're basically,
Power.
taking this whole spread offense into this whole speed element, where you had to be fast. You had to
Mhm.
have fast players and you had to play fast. Um, and so I just love that this moment in time is being cherished by Oregon fans and the nostalgia there, and basically introducing Oregon and the current and the past players, and just the way they've been paying homage with the jersey selections,
Mhm.
is really special. And so kudos to you know the heads to be at
Yeah.
Oregon and
Yeah.
Nike. Thank you, Nike.
As always, we get in every podcast. I say, "Thank you, Nike. Thank you for that." You can check out more of my work at duckswire.usatoday.com. Follow me at Zachary C. Neel on Twitter. Follow Jay Stu on Twitter at Jonathan Stewart1. Make sure to check out the Believe in Panthers podcast and the Stu and Crew podcast. For myself, Zach Neel, for my co-host Jonathan Stewart, we'll talk to you guys next week. Till then, take it easy.